So some big news coming out of Moscow. This is breaking as of today. Tucker Carlson is in Moscow getting ready, apparently, to interview Vladimir Putin. Now, this is big in terms of from a white hat perspective. I've talked about how Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk, many others, and even Putin are part of a large white hat operation. And this is what a lot of white hats, the truthers, if you want to say conspiracy theorists, this is what they believe. And this is part of a greater agenda in waking up the population. And I've talked about the Great Awakening. I've talked about the Great Exposure and how people are waking up to the idea that they're being deceived and that a certain perception of reality is being projected onto the Americans and to the world to make them think a certain way. And so there's a lot of differences from the Western media versus the Eastern, if you want to say Russian, even the Asian, Middle East propaganda or media, and how it's shaping people in terms of their hate, their view against a certain person. So this is very clear if you're American, with regards to Trump. You know this if you're a Christian with regards to how Jesus Christ himself was treated back in the days of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. All of this is narrative shaping. All of this is media narrative control to help shape what people think of you. And a lot of this is difficult to erase. But I believe, and this is what a lot of white hats believe, is that Tucker Carlson is in there. He's making it, and he just posted a video recently about why he's interviewing Vladimir Putin. You can check this out. But basically, he's been saying from a neutral point of view that Americans have a right to know both sides. Americans have a right to know, to understand a war for which it's been heavily one-sided, if you want to say. But from a objective journalist point of view, he's going in there to interview and to have an understanding of what he's saying. And a lot of what Putin has already done was to present their case in front of the UN, talking about the crimes against humanity, the bioweapons. And again, this is all stuff that has been hidden from the media. But Russia, and again, I'm just reporting it objectively. I'm not saying that you got to believe this and that. I'm saying that Russia clearly went into the UN Security Council, presented from a genocide perspective, from the Nuremberg Code, and all of these crimes against humanity, and especially as it relates to this supposed biological weapon lab or a set of labs that are in Ukraine that have developed COVID-like weapons of mass destruction. And a lot of people even saying and talking about how a lot of COVID and all of that sourcing from the research in Ukraine and what they're doing, especially with regards to money laundering and these children trafficking, all this stuff. And again, I can't even say this without getting flagged, but a lot of, I can't even say that without getting flagged, but this is what a lot of the white hat, the truther community, the conspiracy community, if you want to call it, is saying. And with how the last 6 years have gone, with how Trump and many of the truth movement, the conspiracy theories becoming conspiracy reality, there's something to be had here with regards to being open-minded to how this is going to be exposed. Because from a biblical perspective, whatever is hidden will come to light. Whatever is evil, all of this stuff will be exposed. And people will have a choice, as I've said before, from a Christian perspective, from a prophetic perspective, you will have a choice to believe, especially as two clear cases or sides are being presented to you, and people will choose whatever they want to believe, as opposed to being a seeker of truth. And so I'm not here holding hands with Putin saying I, agree with everything and all that stuff, but what's really going on? And how is it that if Trump was demonized, that Putin right now is being demonized? How is it that I believe the media and what they're saying? It's almost like you're thinking whatever the media says, the opposite is true. And so this is sort of the motto many of us are going on with regards to how to discern and understand the news. And so I'm saying this because be very careful how this is coming out, but I think it's going to be a bombshell of an interview. And also it's going to cause a chain reaction for other news that have been perverted, distorted over the last couple of years, and how it has to be made right so that people can grasp what the special military operation that Putin has done, what they're doing. And they will be presented with this truth. The special military operation that Putin has done, and again, I've said before prophetically that Putin is on a special military operation. He's not invading the entirety of Ukraine, and we haven't seen that over the last couple of years. Where is all of what's going on in Lugansk and Donetsk, right, in the eastern part of Ukraine, and if there's special targets being struck or whatever, that's across Ukraine, but they're not there to territorially subjugate the country and take it back in a sense. But rather, they're there to protect the people and to rid them of what is basically the neo-Nazis. If you remember the Azov Battalion and many other groups that are radical that are being protected by the global elite. And so this is all part of vindicating, releasing the population from the stronghold of the global elite and everything that's happened. And a lot of that will come out. I believe it will come out, maybe not to its entirety and its fullness, because a lot of it will be hard to digest. But this is the beginning of what's happening. And so this is what I'm summarizing in terms of this great white hat operation that Putin, Trump, many others, when Putin gave the soccer ball to Trump, this is part of his role and Russia's role. They're going to be demonized. They're going to be looked down on. But Putin, if you saw his State of the Union speech last year, and I think maybe this year, he talked about a lot of godly principles. He talked about and went against American ideology of accepting, this LGBTQ agenda, attacking the family nucleus, many things that he's saying is righteous. Now, I'm not saying that everything he's done is great. I don't know the detail. I'll come from that perspective. But what's very clear is what he's doing, what he's saying, and how that is lining up with biblical principles. But if you don't agree with that or don't see it that way, it's because you've been poisoned and polluted by the Western media to believe a certain narrative. And this is what's being corrected right now. And this is what a lot of the white hats, they're excited about, and what Trump, with Tucker Carlson, with all of these media outlets, again, they're at this moment going crazy because they cannot stand the fact that Tucker is getting ready to expose. But guess what happened before? There have been figures in the past that have interviewed quote unquote bad people, right? And I'm not saying that these guys were not bad. They were worse in the sense of what they did, but not compared to how Putin is being demonized. CNN interviewing Osama bin Laden in 1997, CBS interviewing Saddam Hussein in 2003, 60 Minutes interviewing Putin in 2005, NBC interviewing Putin again as recently as 2021. And again, I'm not saying these guys are good. I'm saying that the media is going crazy over Tucker Carlson, going over to Russia to interview Putin. But look at what they've done in the past, because they went and actually interviewed evil people. But Putin, again, all of this image stuff, people will have a choice. When it comes out and it's being corrected, how is it that you want to believe this? So this is part of the Great Awakening and what the white hat agenda is. And so I wanted to give you guys this quick update. More to come, but it is an exciting time from that perspective. Love you guys. Talk to you guys very soon.